Welcome to the Scottish Rite Journal podcast, an audio presentation of the Scottish Rite Journal, brought to you by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. This week's article is Drawing from Chalk, Charcoal, and Clay, Part 1, Chalk by Brother Adam Lee Buffington, 32nd degree, and comes from the September-October 2024 issue of the Scottish Rite Journal. Introduction. Near the end of the entered apprentice degree, new Masonic initiates are introduced to the symbols of chalk, charcoal, and clay. In this first article of a three-part series, we examine chalk, which represents freedom, for under the slightest touch, it leaves a trace behind as it glides freely along a smooth surface. Yet chalk, as we shall see, also teaches us the necessity of prudence. Within the entered apprentice degree, there is a small section, not more than 3 sentences long, concerning 3 substances: chalk, charcoal, and clay. The brevity of their mention might give the impression that these material symbols are of lesser importance than certain symbols that receive more emphasis, such as the 24-inch gauge, the circumpunct and encircled dot, or the Masonic apron. I will argue in this series that chalk, charcoal, and clay, rather than being minor figures of speech, instead symbolize some of the most important aspects of an individual's self-development. We begin with chalk. For centuries, this material has been used as an instrument for teaching, understanding, and creation. Before the advent of modern dry erase boards, teachers and professors used chalk to pass knowledge to their students and to write upon boards theorems and ideas to help students understand what they were witnessing in their experiments and to suggest new hypotheses or theories. When our Masonic degrees were being performed during colonial times, chalk was used to draw out symbols and teach our instructions on the floor of the lodge. These markings, then, were removed by a mop and pail. If you're a Master Mason, check out the Master Craftsman Online College, the premier education platform from the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Southern Jurisdiction. From craft lodge to Scottish Rite philosophy, visit www.mastercraftsmancollege.org for complete info and use promo code SRJ2024, that's SRJ2024 for 20% off any course. We thus see that chalk is associated with the mind and with education, helping us to hold in our minds knowledge of both the outside world and our innermost reflections. Yet chalk is more than a simple tool for recording ideas temporarily. It also symbolizes freedom in its most important form, freedom of the mind, which in turn allows us to develop abilities such as critical thinking, our moral sense, and our understanding of the divine. Moreover, with chalk, we can present our thoughts, knowledge, and academic drives to those around us and leave those who listen in a better state than when they arrived before an edifying lecture. In being free, we also strive to be free from another's undue power and from unworthy viewpoints and prejudices. As the Enlightenment philosopher Immanuel Kant reminds us in his essay, An Answer to the Question, What is Enlightenment? We also must free ourselves from our own self-imposed immaturity and self-centered prejudices to achieve enlightenment and freedom of the intellect. We therefore strive to be free from all external and internal influences that bring about biases and limitations. Yet, to what extent is this possible? Here chalk has something further to teach us about the mental aspects and possibilities of man. Spiritual alchemy also may offer some insight. In what we might term the alchemy of the classical world, there are 4 primary elements: fire, water, earth, and air, as we read in Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma. Fire, water, earth, and air change incessantly and continually, not in place but form. 27th degree lecture, Knight of the Sun or Prince Adept. Chalk is an earth element. It literally is made up of portions of earth material, be it animal, plant, or mineral. Yet this earthen material also provides us, as a tool of instruction, with a free mind the latter traditionally associated with the air elements of intelligence and creativity as well as the water element of human intellect. Unexpectedly, the scientific revolution tool of the microscope aids us here. If we zoom in on the structure of a piece of chalk, we can see there are hundreds of thousands of air pockets between its earth elements. These air pockets are what allow the chalk to be as brittle as it is, that allow it the property under the slightest touch to leave a trace behind. The small traces that we leave behind can have great and sometimes everlasting consequences, both literally and allegorically. A good example of this was when scientists were able to show that if they bombarded some atoms with neutrons, there would be a reaction whereby those atoms would shoot out more neutrons and hit other atoms and cause the same effect, causing a nuclear chain reaction. This small experiment, initially recorded with a small notation using chalk, would lead to the development of nuclear energy, nuclear weapons, and new forms of medicine. Chalk thus admonishes us only to present so much to those around us, for each of our actions, either in what we teach, present, or say, leaves a slight trace behind that everyone will remember and see, and they will take the knowledge we leave, whether for good or for bad. Chalk thus reminds us that knowledge is a gift that we give to others, to help build them up, to help create a better society. Yet we must be prudent and, indeed, cautious about how and on whom we leave behind our marks of knowledge. While we as Masons hope to create a better world, there are those in the shadows afraid of our light that we spread and who could also misuse our knowledge with devastating results. Our freedom of mind must therefore be tempered with discernment. Like and share this article, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you wish to comment, please leave one, and as a reminder, hit the notifications bell. Any accompanying photographs or citations for this article can be found in the corresponding print edition. The Scottish Rite Journal is published by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, Southern Jurisdiction, Mother Supreme Council of the World. Mark Dreisenstock, 33rd degree, Managing Editor. I'm your host, Matt Bowers.